Yo, what's up, guys? We're back with a deck that I took to Boise, Idaho Regional, and I got fourth place at. As the title says, we ended up going 6-1. We only lost the first game, the first match of the tournament against Tier. All three games he opened foolish, so I mean, it's just unfortunate. He just had better luck that round. And then we played against Live Twin Spright, Pure Spright. We played the mirror match, Spright Runick. We played against Pure Runick and two other tiers. Um, my deck is, I think it's pretty similar as to most Spright Runick builds. I just want to highlight a few of like the choices that I made and why I made them. But let's go ahead and hop into it. Oh yeah, little cool deck box. But let's go ahead and hop into it. Um, we played a pretty standard Sprite package. We have your blues, your jets, red carrot, and I did play pixies because my sideboard, the way that I built it, is to basically OTK, going second. So you do need the pixies. I'd rather have it in the main than have to side it in, taking up another side slot basically. And then just your frog package. This is all super standard, nothing like super crazy. This is where things start to look a little bit different than most deck profiles for this deck, and I do have a theory on it that did work for me. But like your Ash is just a good blanket hand trap, and then you play your triple crow, just because it's really good right now. And instead of like Imperm, I decided to play Veiler. My thought process was on this is because I play a huge Runic package. Huge as in it's 13 cards, so drawing off a Fountain on your opponent's turn is pretty realistic fairly often. And if you draw an Imperm as opposed to a Veiler, you have to wait 2 turns to use it because it's got to go back to your turn, you got to set it, and then go back to your opponent's. And the Veiler's not once per turn, so like even if I draw 2 or 3 off a Fountain on my opponent's turn and I see double Veiler, it's in no way like a brick. Probably the worst card in the deck that I didn't like. It is at 43 cards, just because everything at the moment I felt needed to be in the deck, but Nib honestly felt kind of bad. I think only once in the whole tournament it ever came up. Because either going second, I would open like another hand trap, and I could just like learning where to use your hand traps. Like against tier sure you can't stop them, but like saving your crows, your Ash, and your Veiler for, well, obviously depending on their line of play, but hindering them enough to where honestly sometimes they would stop on like third or fourth summon. And yeah, I don't know. The nib just felt really like not that great. Like if it was, it would be better in the side. Um, but I mean, you could play 3 other hand traps or just cut. I think the 9 hand traps honestly is fine. Um, but that's it for the hand trap lineup. And then for Runic, we got 3 tip, 3 freezing curses. This one is the Imperm. Flashing Fire is the one that pops a special summon, and then Destruction for back row. These are all really good. I mean, they either help break boards or they help you extend. And then Fountain. Fountain is so crazy, man. Like, so many times. There were some times when I felt like the Runics clogged my hand, but not really because Fountain helped with that. I think only match 1, game 1, I opened like, I think it was like Fountain and 4 Runics, and I was like, this isn't the greatest. But it does happen. You can't really predict when that'll happen. But then we just play the 3 starter smashers in the call by. I think call by is just too insane to cut it, to be honest. I couldn't bring myself to terms, so it was 42 for a long time, and literally like at 1 in the morning before the tournament, I was up testing with some friends, and I was like, you know what, I think I just need to throw this in. And there was a lot of times when it was just like absolutely nuts. I mean, this card probably will and should get banned, so I figured why not try and main deck it. That's it for the main deck. Like I said, mostly just the hand traps. I feel like playing those non-once per turn, like the Crow and the Veiler, to draw them on your opponent's turn off a Fountain it's just way better than other options. Then just 2 Gigantic, 2 Hugin, whatever. 2 Elf. I'll touch bases on just playing 2 here in a second, but your Toad, Soul Sweeper was really, really good. Phoenix, so you can OTK when you side for going second. This should be your other elf. In theory, I was like, well, I'll give them a big nib token. And because I can't go to battle phase, I can just use Cerberus to pop it. But it, like I said, nib never came up, so this was the only extra deck monster I never summoned. And it could be the third elf, probably should be. Your utility charmers, these are really good. Stole a Toad a couple times, special random darks to extend more. The reason I play IP here, and there's 2 targets for her, is you want to make IP because honestly, I only prepped for Spright and Tier. I just felt like my deck would outclass anything else, and I figured I would prepare for the mirror. Basically, the decks that were of equal strength. And Super Poly is real. I don't like the idea of just play into it. There's no way to play around it. There really is if you are going first. Like your end board should always be just to be safe. Like Runick, if you open tip, you can banish the top card, and usually that'll let you know if you're playing against Tier or not. But if you don't see it, the end board should be Elf with Toad and IP. And that should always be your end board. But anyways, this came up a couple times. It was pretty good. This was probably the most underrated and the best card in the extra deck, outside of like obviously what you have to play. I'm really glad I added this. Just like against everything really. I summoned it like 3 or 4 times, and when I did summon it, I won because of it. One quick note: final match of the tournament, so round 7, game 3 against Tier, he completely like cleared my board, and he had full control. He had a Zero Burrows and a Kikalos, I believe it was, and a Cosmic Cyclone. He ended up telling me at the end set, so it was pretty dead. And I top decked here into my side deck. So hold on, well, I top decked literally into my Lava Golem, and he had 550 life points, and I gave him the Lava Golem and burned him for game. It was definitely like a protagonist moment, but it was pretty crazy. Which leads me into the side deck. I mean, you just play a bunch of board breakers, red resonators for time, but you play 11 board breakers. You play these, and your 3 alphas. What I'll do is, if there is enough time, then I'll side in these 11, and I take out 11 Runicks because I don't want to give up my battle phase. I want to break the board as fast as possible on my opponent. My opponent's board. But if I am, let's say I'm going to go second and there's like 10 minutes or less, then I'll throw this in, and I'll only keep 1 of the Runick cards, and I will only ever keep like the ones that are good in the matchup. So if I'm going to play against Rogue, I'll keep in an MST, or if I'm only going to keep 2, then I'll keep a Freezing Curse and a Flashing Fire, just so that way if I open both, they're not like the same copy. And then they can, be board breakers, or excuse me, or they can be an extender. But it really did work out for me quite a bit. I opened Alpha Lava Golem round 2, and just like looping the Lava Golem to just decimate them, basically decimate the board, and just go full combo after that. Red Resonator is, so basically like you side all 12 in if you're going to go into time, so you can break the board and just ensure your Red Resonator resolves. And that's how I won round 3 against Live Twin Spright, because there was like 5 minutes left, and he did his board and I broke it, and then just ensured my Red Resonator resolved. But this was my tech card for going first. If I was going first, I always took out Nib because I didn't want to forfeit my board. And I didn't want to cut on the spells, because that way it ensured that I opened Curse Heal with a spell to discard, and this card was actually really good. The first couple rounds, I was starting to question it, but after, I think, 3rd round forward, it was just absolutely crazy. I stopped the Secret Slayer, it's there for Dark Ruler, for Mystic Mine. In the final match against Tier in round 7, I stopped his field spell because I was like, it's either going to be Dark Ruler, but he activated his field spell first, which obviously made me think he doesn't have Dark Ruler, and then I just stopped in. He literally was like, whoa, what? And then he scooped after that because his hand unfortunately just wasn't that great. But yeah, I think this card is really good in this specific build. The Judgment just feels kind of bad, especially since you're skipping your battle phase. Catching back up to all, like, putting your opponent under the life point threshold that you've put yourself under can be really rough. There wasn't ever really a time where I was like, dang, I wish I could go to my battle phase. Maybe like once, but not always. It all, I mean, ultimately ended up working out. This is what I just feel is the proper build. Outside of the nib, I'd say on the side, if you wanted to like take out maybe like, if you wanted to take out like this or this and maybe like the feather duster, but I probably wouldn't. I think just because these are all good on the draw. If you draw a Master 6 card going second, then they're still good. But yeah, that's everything. Guys, thanks for watching. I will hopefully, I say it every video, I'll try to upload, but usually I feel like I only upload when I get a deck that does pretty well, and I just like to share my thoughts at that point. I haven't really done like any like casual decks, to be honest. I've been kind of grinding quite a bit on competitive, but now that we got our invite for next Nats, I'll probably take it a little bit slower. I've been messing with Umi, like the Umi stun deck. I still have Sharks. I have a bunch of deck cores that are sitting there, and I'm planning on like using them for the meantime, just to mess with them. And hopefully one of them does well, and then we'll be back with another deck profile. But thanks guys for watching. Have a great one.